Anger is born when other people break your expectations. According to Machiavelli, anyone who expects fairness, kindness, or intelligence from everyone will live in constant frustration. Human nature is selfish by default. Once you accept this truth, anger loses its grip on you. You realize the problem is not people, it is your expectations of them. Reacting emotionally to things outside your control is a waste of power. What people think, say, or do is often beyond your influence. Machiavelli teaches that a wise person invests energy only in what can be controlled: personal behavior, decisions, and silence. Master this, and irritation fades naturally. Anger is often the voice of ego. When you feel disrespected, your ego demands retaliation. Machiavelli warns that ego is the easiest doorway for manipulation. The person who frees himself from ego becomes nearly impossible to provoke. Control your ego, and you control you. Most people are not trying to insult you. They are simply acting according to their nature. When you understand this, you stop taking things personally. Machiavelli teaches us to see behavior as strategy, not offense. The one who analyzes instead of reacting remains calm and superior. Silence is a weapon that kills anger instantly. When someone provokes you and you refuse to respond, you win. Machiavelli believed that every unnecessary reaction weakens authority. Silence preserves dominance. Those who speak expose themselves. Those who remain silent stay in control. Anger provides short-term relief, but long-term damage. Machiavelli teaches sacrificing short-term emotion for long-term power. When you master anger, people begin to see you as unpredictable, and unpredictable individuals are respected and feared. Emotional restraint builds authority. Not every comment deserves a response. Responding to everything lowers your value. Machiavelli believed selective silence signals importance. When you choose carefully where to invest attention, people realize your focus is expensive. Anger disappears when attention becomes selective. People can only bother you as much as you allow. Understanding this is the beginning of freedom. Machiavelli emphasized boundaries as the foundation of power. When boundaries are firm and enforced, people retreat naturally. Weak boundaries invite anger. Emotional detachment is not coldness, it is control. Machiavelli taught observing emotions without becoming their slave. When you step back and watch your feelings, anger turns into a temporary sensation rather than a command. Observation dissolves reaction. Everyone operates at their own level. Ignorant people act ignorantly. Insecure people provoke. Machiavelli advised adjusting expectations based on people's capacity. When expectations become realistic, disappointment fades, and with it, reacting in anger hands emotional control to others. Machiavelli saw this as a fatal mistake. Whoever can anger you can control you. Delay reactions. Delay is power. The one who pauses and thinks becomes the master of the situation. Not every insult is personal. Often it is someone else's frustration leaking out. Machiavelli understood that people use attacks to hide weakness. When you interpret insults as information rather than injury, anger loses meaning. People test you to measure emotional stability. Those who explode are seen as weak. Machiavelli believed emotional control signals danger. Calm individuals are hard to manipulate. Silence becomes your reputation. Not every battle is worth fighting. Some victories come from avoidance. Machiavelli taught that unnecessary conflict drains power. Anger often comes from wars that never needed to be fought. If someone repeatedly provokes you, your reaction is part of the reason. Machiavelli observed that people attack where reactions exist. Remove the reaction and the attacker loses interest. Calm becomes punishment. Never attach your self-worth to other people's words. Machiavelli believed true power comes from self-defined value. When you know your worth, criticism becomes background noise. Provocation is often a power play by insecure people. Machiavelli taught that calm destroys such strategies. Your composure confuses them, and confusion ends their game. Taking everything seriously creates emotional weight. Machiavelli believed lightness protects the mind. When you mentally lighten situations, insults stop sticking. Anger needs gravity. Remove it. Remember that people are temporary, but your mission is permanent. Machiavelli advised focusing on purpose, not personalities. Clear direction eliminates distraction and anger. The master of emotions becomes the master of people. Machiavelli saw self-control as the highest authority. Emotional stability commands respect and discourages provocation. Anger often comes from mental exhaustion. Machiavelli understood that a tired mind reacts poorly. Rest, silence, and solitude are strategic tools. A fresh mind shrinks problems. Provocation seeks attention. Attention is currency. Machiavelli taught that denying attention destroys power. Ignoring someone is often the greatest defeat you can deliver. Not every conversation is meant to be won. Some are traps. Machiavelli valued trap recognition. Avoiding unnecessary debates preserves mental energy and prevents anger. Lower expectations act as emotional armor. Machiavelli believed disappointment is born from unrealistic hope. Expect less and you remain unbothered. Those who respect themselves do not beg for validation. Machiavelli valued independence above approval. Freedom from validation eliminates anger. A calm smile can be more powerful than confrontation. Machiavelli viewed confusion as a weapon. When reactions are unexpected, manipulators lose control. Limit how much people know about you. Machiavelli believed secrecy protects power. Fewer exposed weaknesses mean fewer provocations. People will judge you no matter what. Accepting this truth brings freedom. Machiavelli taught that fear of judgment fuels anger. Acceptance kills it. Energy is limited. Spend it wisely. Machiavelli valued selectivity. Decide who deserves reactions, and emotional peace follows. Self-awareness is ultimate defense. Machiavelli believed understanding your triggers neutralizes them. Anger becomes a choice, not a reflex. Anger rises when you assume responsibility for everything. Machiavelli taught separation. Not every problem is yours. Release what isn't yours. Kindness without boundaries invites disrespect. Machiavelli emphasized firmness. Clear limits prevent repeated conflict and anger. Constant availability reduces value. Machiavelli believed rarity creates respect. Distance protects emotional balance. Over-explaining weakens authority. Machiavelli taught that power needs no justification. Stop defending yourself, and anger fades. Do not carry other people's stress. Machiavelli believed emotional detachment preserves strength. Borrowed stress breeds unnecessary anger. Calm exposes chaos in others. Machiavelli saw exposure as power. Anger hides weakness. Silence reveals it. Time is a powerful response. Machiavelli valued patience. Delayed reactions bring clarity and dissolve anger. Limit emotional access. Machiavelli believed access control prevents manipulation. Strong boundaries kill anger before it starts. Loud emotions damage reputation. Machiavelli valued image as power. Calm creates mystery and respect. Not everyone deserves equal energy. Machiavelli believed hierarchy preserves balance. Prioritization prevents emotional waste. Anger often reveals insecurity. Machiavelli taught that self-knowledge eliminates provocation. Inner strength blocks external disturbance. No response is often the strongest response. Machiavelli valued restraint. Control belongs to the silent. People try to pull you down to their level. Machiavelli warned against descending. Staying elevated defeats their intent. Drama survives on attention. Machiavelli advised starvation. Remove attention and drama dies. You cannot please everyone. Machiavelli believed approval-seeking destroys peace. Acceptance of disapproval brings freedom. Speak less, carry presence. Machiavelli valued mystery. Silence reduces conflict. You are not responsible for correcting everyone. Machiavelli believed correction drains power. Let people live with consequences. Protect your mental space. Machiavelli saw prevention as strength. Anger cannot enter where boundaries exist. Consistency discourages provocation. Machiavelli believed patterns teach others how to treat you. Your greatest enemy is uncontrolled reaction. Machiavelli taught self-conquest above all. Master reactions, master life. Every moment is a choice. Anger is optional. Machiavelli believed choice equals power. Patience is a trap for others. Machiavelli valued waiting. People reveal themselves when you stay calm. Structure defeats chaos. Machiavelli believed discipline eliminates emotional instability. Observation beats reaction. Machiavelli valued awareness. Anger fades under attention. Respect comes from consistency, not emotion. Machiavelli taught steadiness builds authority. Never drop to lower levels. Machiavelli valued elevation. Calm lifts, anger lowers. Emotional mastery requires daily practice. Machiavelli believed repetition builds permanence. Walking away is strategy, not weakness. Machiavelli valued strategic retreat. Focus on growth, not people. Machiavelli taught progress silences noise. Inner strength is final armor. Machiavelli believed self-mastery makes external behavior irrelevant. Anger becomes a servant, not a ruler. Anger survives only where the mind feels threatened. Machiavelli teaches that once you no longer feel the need to defend your image, anger begins to starve. Most people react not because they are hurt, but because they fear losing status, respect, or control. When you stop tying your identity to how others perceive you, provocations lose their purpose. A secure mind does not rush to protect itself. It observes calmly and remains untouched. People often provoke you to pull you into emotional chaos where they feel comfortable. Machiavelli understood that disorder benefits the insecure. When you refuse to participate emotionally, you force them to face themselves. Calm is not passive, it is strategic resistance. The person who remains emotionally still in front of chaos silently communicates superiority. Anger would only place you on equal ground with those who thrive in disorder. Anger clouds judgment, and clouded judgment leads to poor strategy. Machiavelli valued clarity above emotion because power depends on accurate perception. When anger enters, you stop seeing people as they are and start seeing threats where none exist. By training yourself to pause and analyze before reacting, you preserve clarity. Clear vision allows you to respond intelligently instead of emotionally, turning potential conflict into advantage. Most conflicts are fueled by the illusion of urgency. Machiavelli taught that urgency is often artificial, created to force mistakes. When someone pressures you emotionally, they are usually trying to control timing. Refusing to rush is a quiet act of power. When you slow down, anger fades and reason returns. Time exposes intentions, weakens manipulation, and restores balance to the mind. Anger gives people information about you, your limits, your triggers, your weaknesses. Machiavelli warned against revealing such intelligence. The less emotional data you provide, the harder you are to manipulate. When people cannot predict your reactions, they hesitate. Emotional secrecy creates psychological distance, and distance creates safety. A composed individual becomes unreadable, and unreadable individuals are rarely challenged. You are not obligated to emotionally engage with everyone who crosses your path. Machiavelli believed that selective engagement preserves strength. When you treat every interaction as important, you exhaust yourself. Emotional discipline means choosing when to care and when to remain detached. Anger often arises from over-involvement. Detachment is not indifference, it is strategic conservation of inner power. Some people attempt to provoke anger because it validates their existence. Machiavelli understood that attention, even negative attention, feeds fragile egos. When you deny emotional reactions, you deny them significance. This is why calm silence often frustrates more than confrontation. The absence of reaction communicates that they are not important enough to disturb your inner order.
Anger narrows your future options. Machiavelli believed power comes from having multiple paths available. When you react emotionally, you lock yourself into predictable behavior. Calmness keeps possibilities open. It allows you to choose silence, withdrawal, confrontation, or strategy when it benefits you. The less emotional you are, the more flexible and dangerous you become. True emotional mastery means you no longer fear disrespect. Machiavelli taught that fear of disrespect makes men impulsive. When you are no longer threatened by opinions, words lose their sting. Respect gained through emotional control lasts longer than respect demanded through anger. Calm confidence signals inner authority, and inner authority requires no defense. At the highest level, anger disappears because nothing feels personal anymore. Machiavelli believed that emotional detachment is the final stage of self-mastery. You see people as patterns, not provocations. Situations as movements, not insults. When the personal ego dissolves, anger has nowhere to land. What remains is clarity, patience, and a quiet dominance that others can feel but never challenge. Anger is often a delayed reaction to feeling powerless. Machiavelli believed that the moment a person regains internal authority, anger loses its purpose. When you strengthen your skills, discipline, and self-respect, external behavior stops affecting you deeply. Power inside creates calm outside. The stronger you become internally, the less you need emotional reactions to protect yourself from the world. People sense emotional instability before they see it. Machiavelli taught that humans instinctively test those who appear reactive. When anger shows easily on your face or in your tone, it invites further pressure. Calm, controlled behavior discourages intrusion. Emotional stillness signals that you are not easily shaken, and what cannot be shaken is rarely challenged or disrespected. Anger makes you predictable, and predictability destroys strategic advantage. Machiavelli valued unpredictability because it keeps others cautious. When people know what triggers you, they gain leverage. By refusing emotional reactions, you remove that leverage. Calm behavior keeps others uncertain, forcing them to act carefully around you rather than confidently against you. You do not need to prove strength through emotional intensity. Machiavelli believed true strength appears effortless. Those who shout, argue, or rage are compensating for weakness. When you remain composed, you project authority without explanation. Silence, backed by inner certainty, speaks louder than anger ever could, and it commands more respect. Emotional independence is the highest form of freedom. Machiavelli taught that the person who cannot be emotionally controlled cannot be ruled. When insults, opinions, and behavior no longer move you, you become self-governing. Anger chains you to others. Calm releases you. Freedom begins where emotional reactions end. At mastery, anger transforms into awareness. Instead of reacting, you notice patterns, intentions, and timing. Machiavelli believed this awareness separates rulers from followers. You no longer ask, "Why did this anger me?" You ask, "What does this reveal?" When anger becomes information instead of reaction, you gain insight, control, and quiet dominance. The moment you understand that anger has never been your strength but your loudest weakness, you stop giving people access to your inner world. From that point on, no insult can shake you.
No opinion can control you, and no provocation can move you, because the one who has mastered his own emotions no longer fights people, he outgrows them, and that silent mastery becomes a power no one dares to challenge.